Hello, content managers. This is the third video in our series on working with CMD, Content Manager Desktop, and the first one that's going to be about content. As such, it's going to be the basics of content, and we're going to use the weather and date and time content objects to illustrate some of the details of working with content, in particular the layout editor for content items. We're going to start in Content Manager Desktop, CMD. You should have a window when you log in that looks very similar to mine right now. You'll have this top network overview, the timeline, and then the content objects down here. For working with content, I highly recommend, but you don't have to, move this window over to the left. Click in the title bar here, and you'll see that it comes up and you can move it around. Move it over to the left, and it'll make your life a little bit easier later when you're trying to add content. If you wanted to, you could also move the templates and apps window out if you needed to. You could also unpin it, and then it just floats, free floating. I'm going to keep it pinned. Now, the next thing working with content that I want to remind people of is don't use, some of you may have an icon bar here, don't use that. Also, don't use this top menu here for content new. It's going to save you in the long run, because if you use either of those two objects, it's going to try to create a content object in the root directory to which you don't have access. So you'll create the content object, do all your work, save it, and then it saves to a place that you can't get to it. So save yourself some time, create directly in the folder. How do you do that? You do that by going into your folder and right-clicking and going to New Content in this category. Before I just dump this in here by creating whatever, let's go ahead and make a new folder for this. Go in here and go to New Category in this category. 4Winds calls them categories. They look like folders. People know them as folders. They're folders. 4Winds calls them categories. So we're going to call this Demo Production. Click OK. And I have a new folder that I can add things to. We're going to go ahead and right-click in there and go New Content in this category. And then I'm going to add the time and date, date and time content object. And a new panel is going to come up. First things first, give this thing a name. Date, space, time. You can use an underscore. That's fine. We highly recommend that you don't use ands, carets, any special characters. They should be fine, but we've had a couple instances of users that somehow managed to get an ASCII code that is not part of the regular US keyboard on their object, and that creates some database issues when we try to migrate the database from version 15 to 16, 17, whatever it is. The next thing that we need to talk about here, though, is the duration field. This is time and date. Time and date is really probably going to stay up on your sign the entire time the sign is running. You could force the sign to check something every 30 seconds, and there are legitimate cases to do that. Is there a legitimate case to have the time check every 30 seconds whether it should be showing something different? If weather shows in the same spot, then sure, every 30 seconds I want you to change the weather, then the date and time. In my sign from our demo previously, templates, we're not going to do that. We're just going to stick in the bottom right-hand corner and leave it up all the time. So for that purpose, I'm going to change this to 24 hours. Remember, the first number here, the first set of zeros, is hours. So we're going to change it to 24, and we're going to delete the seconds and leave it 0. Now this content object will run for 24 hours without interruption, and it'll just keep doing its thing. And then we could edit the layout here. You can get to that here. But we're going to click OK to save these changes. And now we have a date and time object here. Let's go into the layout again from a different view. Remember, we can get to it by clicking this layout object. That'll get me to the layout. That's what this looks like. That's what this is. Or I can go to it by clicking on here and go to Edit Date and Time Layout. So right-click on the object you want to edit and go to Edit Date and Time Layout. Once you're in here, you'll have this window. There's a few key details here. Fields. These are really, you can almost think of them as content objects within a content object, a little contentception in there. The next field is this big work area. This is where everything is. You have some view buttons and some magnifying glasses, whatever the opposite of a magnifying glass is, a retracted view. You have the background in editor. This on the right lets you edit some of the properties of the field. So let's add a field right now so we can talk about what that is. Adding a field. what do you want to add to this field? You have two options here. You'll have more in live data option, but these are the basics. Date and time and built in. Built in is really for interactivity and live data, so let's go with date and time. We have a date, no time, just date. Now we can edit this over here, much like we kind of did the template. We can start it in the top left-hand corner, 0, 0. Go to the next field or hit enter and it will move. You do have to hit enter or click somewhere else. And we can change the width of this thing. We can go, 516 and change the width. There you go. We can change the height, 516. There we go. That's way too big for this, but it's fine. For this purposes right now, it's fine. Now, this is just showing a date. Maybe I don't want to show that. Maybe I want it to show time. Maybe I want to show time and date. How can we do that? The way we do that is right-clicking on here and going to formatting. Every time you right-click on one of these fields, you'll get this menu that allows you a lot of options. Most of these, highlighted image, highlighted filter, interactivity, these all have to do with interactive templates and what happens if someone clicks on them. These other ones here are specific to this. Formatting is specific to the date and time. Click on formatting, scroll over to the left, and click on this menu, and you'll get a bunch of options for how you want to format your time. You have pretty much anything under the sun you could want for formatting time. Keep in mind, some of these are military times. So if you do this in the morning and it's 10 a.m. and you scroll down, you might see a lot of 10 a.m.s. Having trouble there. There we go. You might have a lot of 10 a.m.s. That might be the military time. So you might need to come back and look. Largely anything that is saying PM or AM should be in standard time, not military time. So keep that in mind. If you do want to show it without the AM, PM, you're going to have to come back in the afternoon to see what it is. Let's choose this one, 3:24 p.m. Okay, I got 3:26 p.m. Since apparently I've been talking for 2 minutes. Now, once this is up, this is a pretty small font, and I probably want to change that. You can change the font by going over here to this section that says text and change the font. Per our design documentation, we recommend that you do not use anything with a lot of serifs, these curly things. A little hard to read. So let's go up here to Calibri and use that. That one's a good font. Okay, next I want to change the size of this font. That's this thing right here. Again, be mindful of italics, but maybe bold it if you want to. Let's go to light. There we go. Looks like a clock, digital clock. I can change the color of the font. If I want to, I can click on this color and go in here and change it to something kind of close to a maze. Let's click there. If I wanted to, be mindful again of colors and how many you're using. Fewer, better. Save things for accents. You can center it. You can give it a leading space if you want to. Appearance, you can add rectangles and say, I want this to be a rectangular region. It already is a rectangular region. Why would you need to do that, you ask? Because in this way, I can give it a fill color. And I can say, I want you to fill with this gray color, but I want you to keep the transparency to 50%, somewhere around there. And it will fill that with this back, that's the border. Just made a border. Let's use the fill. Gray. There we go. There's this gray fill now that's slightly transparent. That means whatever I lay the time over is going to kind of cover it up with a little bit of a gray layer to make the time easier to read. That can be useful. There's other ways of doing that. You could do that on the layout area, but you could also do that here if you want to call specific content objects and have a highlight there. Effects. Drop shadows, blur, and multiply. Let's make this a little bit smaller so that it's a little more obvious. 256 by 256. So if I add an effect of a drop shadow, you'll notice that it's on the box, not on the text itself. So that's something to be kind of mindful of, and change that back to none. There is actually a little bit of a drop shadow on the text as well, but it's not as bad as the box. So just keep in mind when you're doing this, you get both, whether you wanted it or not. So click none. Let's kill this fill layer and let's kill the border. You can kind of see the border here. We don't want that. I'm going to get rid of that. There we go. Just click this red slash and it'll kill that color. The rest of this is for more advanced topics. That's why it's under the advanced tab. So we're just going to make that go away for now. Okay, so I've got the time and I can resize this box if I want to try to fit it there. Maybe I want more than time. I could add it here, but what if I want the font on maybe the day to be different from the time? I can add another field and we'll add another time field. And for this one, I can kind of layer it over there and I can go into here and I go to formatting, choose a new formatting. And let's say that I just want to say that it's Monday. I can scroll down till I find Monday. And there's just a Monday. And I'll make this wide, center it. I could center it top, bottom, whatever I want to do. I want to keep it dead center. 36. We're losing the Y there. Okay, there we go. Monday. It is Monday. And we're good to go. So now we have time and day. Click OK. We've saved that content object. Don't click OK. You haven't saved those changes within the session. Not saved within the whole. You haven't saved the changes to the database yet. So keep that in mind. Now, we want to add this date and time to our sign. How do we do that? We're going to open up our organization here, go to our digital sign. We're going to go into James. We're going to see our demo sign here. Not James, whatever yours is called. And James is me. And then go down to where we have time and we've selected a region for it. So let's drag and drop it here. This isn't going to work quite the way we expect it to. So let's preview it and see what we get. We get just the time. Where'd the date go? This region that we put it in is smaller than the region that we were demoing. So now we really want to edit it. This is one of the reasons that it's really helpful if you just create the object by default. Don't mess with the layout. Drag and drop your content object where you want it and then edit the layout here. This is a third way, and this is the best practice, the way to do it. Right click here and go to Edit Source Content Layout. Now this pink bounding box represents the size of the region that I was working with. So I have a little bit better view on what I'm doing with things. For added benefit, we can find out the exact resolution so that we can use that in some of our layout designs. So let's go to this time box here, region, edit source region, and we can see the size of this region, 356 by 128. So 356 pixels wide, 128 pixels tall. So let's go in here again, head source content layout. Let's make this guy, this clock time, 356. Now he's truly centered. And we want him only to be 68 pixels high. Now he's up at this top. Then let's click on our Monday and 356. And we want 68. And it's off screen. So let's bring it on screen. We're going to start with 0, and we want the Monday to show up below this. And because this is 128 pixels tall, and we want it to start 68 pixels down, we can just type in 68. And our Monday is now showing. The font size is a little big. So let's click on Monday over here. You can use this to move between the objects that you're messing with on the screen. So if you have a bunch layered up, it can be hard to find the exact one that you want to mess with. So you can click on this to get to it. So let's click to Monday, and we're going to make the text window bigger, and let's bring it down a little bit more. And now our Monday is there showing. If we click OK, we'll see now it does fit in there. And that's really all there is to working with that layout window. Pushing things around in the size of boxes, arranging the way that you want, arranging the fonts, arranging the colors, sticking them into the right content box. Let's take what we learned with the date and time. Let's apply that to our weather object. We're going to go over to our demo production content category, new content in this category, weather. We'll create a new weather object. Where is it? There we are. Weather. So let's name it weather. We could do a description and label. We're going to skip over that. Let's talk about the duration. Whether you might have a case to move it or to have it skip off the screen. I don't, so I'm going to leave it at 24 hours. But the weather might change during the day. So how to make sure that it's going to change if there's an update from NOAA, National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. Pretty sure. The way you do that is this update interval. This controls how often it goes to NOAA and checks for an update. Please do not do anything lower than 5 seconds. You do lower than 5 seconds, and it's only the weather, your sign could keep up. But if you have it doing a lot of things every 5 seconds and something errors out, it's asking the sign to do everything, check on everything every 2 seconds. You could crash it, especially if you're using a system on a chip sign. You don't do that. Do 5 seconds. For weather, I'm going to say there's not really any reason that I should check on weather more than once an hour. So set that. I could also set Fahrenheit or Celsius. Then there are some areas here for number of items and item start index. Number of items, how many days worth of weather do you want to show? 3, 4, 5. Item start index is what day do I start with? Do I start with today? That'd be 1. Do I start with tomorrow? That'd be 2. Or the day after tomorrow? That's 3. I want to show tomorrow's weather, and I only want to show 1. But for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to go with 3 so you can see what it kind of looks like. There's one other thing you need to do before it's going to let you click this OK. Tell it where to get the weather from, what zip code. This is only going to work for US weather. If you need international weather, you'll need to pull that in through a live data object and find a live data source that you can use. Let's go to 48109, click OK, and we've saved it. We're going to learn from our experience with date and time, and we're going to drag this over to the weather object so we can work with it in its area. We're also going to go into this weather, edit the source region, and make note of how big this is. It's 959 by 918. We also know that that's not entirely accurate. This region is a box in here, but I actually want it to fit inside this quarter circle. So I'll need to be mindful of that when I'm creating the object and go, okay, I need to get it kind of centered in there. Now, what you can see here, let me zoom in for you, is what it does to tile things. It puts it this way. Now you can change that. You can go into the weather, instead of vertical, instead of horizontal, be vertical. You could do that. You can also get rid of, no, don't save yet. Don't save. You can also get rid of, over here, see this little bubbly gradient on the top? You can get rid of that by going in here and in the layout, unchecking this shade day header. And that gets rid of that. So we've got these 4 objects here. These are set in stone. Forwinds won't let you remove those from the weather object. But a lot of people want to get rid of the description because it's redundant. If you want to do that, there is a way to get around that. This is a text object, and the way we can move that is getting rid of the text that way. If you really want this box off the screen, you can send it to the negative and get it off the screen entirely, and that'll just go away. It's technically there. If you want it to come back, you can click on over here on the left-hand side and then start it back as 0, 0, and it's back. I don't want it there, so let's send it back to the Twilight Zone. All right, there we go. That's gone. So I'm working with day, image, and temperature. This is that little like sun or sun covered by clouds or rain, whatever that is. That's my focus point. So I'm going to make this bigger. We're going to say 356 by 356. And I'm going to eyeball it because remember we have this circle that's kind of cutting off most of this. And I'm going to say, let me zoom out a little bit. I'm going to say that I want this image here. Now, this image is always going to shrink to fit. You could set it to fixed, but I don't really want to. And then set the size of the image. In this case, I want it to be here, but I do want it to center the image. No matter what it's doing. So I'm going to go to alignment by right-clicking this box or clicking this little circle here. Go to alignment, and it has a sub-menu. If you try to dash over to middle, it's going to disappear. Forwards is a little awkward like that. Instead, move over to the left, go down, over to the left, and down, and you'll be able to adjust those settings. All right, my image is now hopefully roughly centered, and then we want to add some things. Point of order for weather. Images can normally be sent to the back. For whatever reason, feedback has been provided to Forwinds. The image in weather is always the top layer. Can't get around that. So you can't really set this temperature and say, kind of hang out over the cloud or the sun or whatever it is. It's not going to do that. So drag it to the bottom here. Let's do the same with day. Drag to the top here. Let's change this temperature and center it. Same thing, day is centered, good. And then let's click OK. We're pretty much done with that. And let's see what we get. unclick actual size. Oh, we forgot to remove the 3 days. So edit, source content, remove 3 days, and we're starting on tomorrow. And now we have it roughly there. We probably want to change the font and mess with it, but that's it to working with content at the basics. So let's take a look at what this looks like once we've set everything up and tinkered with the time and everything the way we want it to be. Basic time goes to time. If you don't make this window big enough, you'll get that like kind of scroll effect that it does. And that's a good point for when you create this. If you have when you move this over to the left-hand side, if you have a Mac mouse, we've seen this happen particularly with mice from Mac. They have that one button, and you click over here and you try to drag up onto a sign. You can accidentally select multiple things, and that's probably not helpful. So instead, we move this content window over here. That way you're dragging left to right or right to left. But that way you can, it's not that you can't, but it's harder to accidentally select extra things. So let's remove our basic time. When you want to remove a content object from a template, right click on it and go delete. I know the delete is scary. It's not actually deleting the object. It's just deleting it from the sign. It would be nice if they called it remove. They call it delete. You'll notice that it's still over here. The date and time is still there. And so is basic time. I actually want the basic time object, not the date and time. So let's do that. Let's remove that. Forward, stop scrolling. And let's take a look at what it looks like. And once you get a few other items in here, like there we go. And now we have an image of some cities over there. We have this ticker tape at the bottom, which I haven't put anything in, but we have the weather, we have the time. You can see how this weather is darkening that more than it normally would because that region's on top. And it'll just keep going through. So that's it for this session. Next session, we're going to be covering live data. That's a lot more detailed. So a lot of things that you can do in there. So that's going to be about the same length of video because it's one object. And I look forward to seeing you there. I hope you have a good day and I hope this is helpful. Thank you very much for joining us.